ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام من قال لا إله إلا الله مخلصا دخل الجنة قيل وما إخلاصها قال أن تحفظه عن محارم الله.
My dear respected friends and elders, all the orders and commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from amongst those the biggest is to bring Iman. All the orders and commands of Allah, the biggest command and order from Allah is to bring Iman. And this order is for those who believe, just like the order of Salah, Hajj, fasting and Zakat. It's not the case that to bring Iman is for the non-Muslims and the rest of the orders are for the Muslims. It's not the case. But rather, the people who already have Iman, upon them is the order of bringing Iman. Allah said that, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu aminu, which means that, oh you who believe, believe. The reason for this is that until and unless the people of Iman don't learn Iman and don't achieve Iman, until that time, four things will not be achieved by a Muslim movement. There are four things that a person of Iman needs very badly. He needs it, he direly needs it. There are four things that without these four, a mu'min, he cannot be successful. There are four things in which for a mu'min is in dire need of these four things. And a mu'min cannot get these without Iman. Quran and Hadith is filled with this. That without these four things, a person of Iman will not be successful. And these four things are incumbent with Iman. The first thing is that without Iman, a person will never have istiqamat on a'mal, never be consistent on a'mal. The first is that a person will never have istiqamah or consistency on his a'mal. The first thing is istiqamah. And what is istiqamah? People have kept the name istiqamah for people have kept consistency, istiqamah meaning as whatever you can do, and if you can't, don't do it. People think that, in your line of work, try to do it try to do it as much as possible. That's istiqamah. But he's saying, but rather, even the hypocrites of the time of Sahaba, they had this type of istiqamah. That they used to look at the conditions, and then they used to do the amal based on the condition. He's saying, but to look at the condition and do amal, this is not istiqamah. He's saying that people, they look at their dunya first, and then make their schedule for 40 days. They look at their dunya and then they see what I can do and what I can't do. And what they can do, they do, and what they can't, they leave. And then they say that لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah doesn't, burden a person more than he can do. They quote this ayat. He's saying, but rather the meaning of this ayat is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah didn't give any person any such order that a person did not innate have the power to do. Can you understand? He's saying Allah didn't give such an order for which a person didn't have the ability. This is the meaning of لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. That Allah has only given such orders to a human being or a Muslim that which he has the ability for. Allah has only given those orders to a Muslim that which he can fulfill and discharge. So we understand that the meaning of this ayat is not that whatever you can do and what you can't, just leave it. So I'm saying that this is not istiqamah, that a person this is not istiqamah that you only hold on to one aspect of deen and then you leave the rest of deen. Because deen is such a collective thing that if you leave one order from it, then that deen will become deficient. And then the benefits of deen will not be achieved. He's saying Hazrat Yusuf Ansari used to say that deen is such a thing or such a business that if it's such a business that if even one part is different, one machine is deficient, then the whole business will be shut down. He's saying that we know that there are businesses that if even one machine from amongst them, a single bolt or anything is messed up, the whole business won't be able to run. You won't say that, oh, it's such a big machine, only one part messed up. But rather, that even on that small part of that machine, the whole business runs, or the whole machine runs. That this business won't be able to generate revenue until this small piece of metal is fixed. He's saying that deen is not such that you can choose the amal that you like and you want and leave the rest of deen. He's saying, so I'm saying to choose the one aspect of deen that you like. This is not istiqamah. He's saying to have istiqamah on or be consistent on a certain aspect of deen that you like, this is not istiqamah. He's saying, but rather istiqamah is to stand as firm on the whole complete deen. وَأَنِ اعْبُدُونِي هَذَا الصِّرَاطُ الْمُسْتَقِيمُ. That you obey me completely and you worship me completely. This is the sirat al-mustaqim. This is the straight path. Saying this is the straight path that we obey Allah and worship Allah completely. This is the straight path that you worship Allah completely in all aspects of deen. The munafiqeen, what they used to do is they chose, they tried to be on a middle path, not completely in Islam and not completely in Kufr. So then they chose this halfway way. And he's saying that even in this time, people want the same path. And the people, they say that stay on deen according to your conditions. In Munafiqeen used to say the same thing, that stay on deen according to your conditions and situations. He's saying, although the real case is that your conditions change based on your deen. Your conditions of your life are based on your deen, not your deen based on your conditions. He's saying that وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ, that there are such people who stay on the border of iman and kufr. مِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. They're on the border of Islam and kufr. If the conditions are good, then they're on towards Islam. They incline towards Islam. But as soon as the conditions worsen, then they go lead towards kufr. If there's good conditions, they're happy with Islam. And if the conditions are bad, then they turn their heels and run towards kufr. These people, they lose in dunya and in akhirah. They lose because why? Because they made the deen subservient to their dunya. Because of their not being consistent on their deen and going on their situations, they won't get these four things. So I'm saying that without iman, there is no istiqamat al-amal. Because istiqamat means that standing on the complete deen. وَأَنْ يَعْبُدُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. It means to worship me, this is the straight path. So people say that we do worship Allah, we pray salah. He's saying that only praying salah is not ibadah. He's saying the same way that praying salah is ibadah, the same way earning halal is also ibadah. He's saying, and earning halal is as lazim and as required as praying salah. He's saying it's not felt to earn, but to earn halal is felt when you do earn. It's not felt to earn, but when you do earn, it's felt to earn halal. And to earn halal, it's such a fariḍah and obligation that without which our worships and ibadat will not be complete. Because until and unless a person doesn't earn halal rizq, until then a person will not achieve tahara completely, which is purification or cleanliness. And he's saying without cleanliness there's no ibadah. And so he's saying that ibadah is not the name of one amal, but rather the complete collection of deen. He's saying, one person says that 10 things are deen, 10 things are ibadah. Salah, fasting, hajj, zakat, dhikr, tilawah, da'wat, tijarat, and the rights of the neighbors and fulfilling the sunnah, ihtimam sunnah. These 10 things together are ibadah. From amongst these, if even one is broken, then it will be such that as if that person, he prays salah but he leaves ruku'. So someone will say that this person, he didn't pray salah because this person, he left ruku'. He's saying in front of some people, he's saying that among some ulama that it becomes wajib to repeat the salah if a person prays salah completely but he doesn't do it with calmness, then this person should repeat his salah in front of some ulama. That he prayed his complete salah but not with itminan and calmness. So I'm saying that the same way that if a person leaves one ruku', then that makes his salah deficient. The same way, if we leave any one of these, departments of worship, then our deen will become deficient. You think the same way if you leave one part of salah, the bad results of that are not immediately visible. The same way, if you leave one part of the deen, the bad effects are not immediately visible. You think without iman, all the promises on a'mal, you think they don't, all the promises of a'mal, without iman, they're not fulfilled. He's saying that because this is a sure thing, that those people who are convicted that Allah will fulfill His promise, for them Allah fulfills the promise. And for those who have doubt, Allah doesn't fulfill for them. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to say to Sahaba, at the time of extreme poverty, that he's saying that he used to tell the promises of Allah in these such difficult times. So he's saying, what's the wisdom of this? That if Allah, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he didn't tell the promises of Allah in the if he told the promises of Allah in good times and not in bad times, then the believers, they wouldn't be tested. He's saying, listen very carefully. The hypocrites, their test, or their filtering, the filtering of the hypocrites and the test for the believers. That who is munafiq? Checking. Nifaq, the lying that a person has inside of him, it's apparent then when Allah and Allah's Rasul, when they make promises in complete, very difficult conditions. Saying that when in extremely difficult conditions, Allah and Rasul they make promises, then the munafiqeen are filtered there, and the believers their test is done there. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the time of Khandaq, he 3 miles long was the trench, and he gave 10 Sahaba, and they were digging the trench, and Sahaba, they had stones tied on their stomach, extreme cold. And there was fear that the mushrikeen, they were fully prepared to fight them. And the Sahaba were in extreme fear that time. And they were in extreme hunger. And everybody had stones tied to their stomachs. And people are digging the trench in this condition. And then while they were digging, one rock finally came that they couldn't, with the Sahaba, they were not able to break or did pass it. He's saying that although if Allah wanted, Allah could have made it become broken. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to test the believers and the munafiqeen. And Allah, He wanted to show the munafiqeen that how the mukhliseen, in what hard condition they are. So the munafiqeen, they get doubt in their hearts. So then Sahaba, they came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they said, we reached a rock and it's not breaking. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I'm coming. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he came and he struck it, and it, on his one blow, this whole rocket broke. And such a light came from it that the whole Medina was in light. With light. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that I've been shown the conquer that we've conquered Qaisar and Kisra. The palaces of Qaisar and Kisra, we've conquered those. They've been conquered. That Allah has made all of their women your slaves, and all of their money and their things He's made it yours. So then Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they said, Allahu Akbar. The hypocrites, they said, that all of these promises are deception. They're nothing. Then why? Because of their nifaq, they're only able to see the apparent conditions. Because the hypocrites, they're saying that if Allah is about to give them places in Qissa and the palaces and the money, why doesn't He just give them food right now? He's saying the hypocrites, they see this as deception, that the people who are obeying Allah, they're being killed and they're dying, and they're in disgrace and they're few and they don't have much, and those who don't listen to Allah, they have so much, they're happy and they're enjoying. He said this is a deception. Everybody thinks like this. That even Muslims, their feet shake. So then Muslims, they say that, okay, let's be with them a little bit so we also get a little bit dunya. So they say that be a little bit towards dunya also, so that you get dunya also, be kind of balanced. So he's saying, listen carefully, that in deen, there's no room for even a little bit of movement or bending towards dunya or the ways of the non-Muslims, even a little bit there's no room for anything like this. See, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam means you can't be a little bit here, a little bit there. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was one time in Dawah, and he used to kiss Hajar Aswad, the black stone. This is the ma'mul of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the common practice of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The mushrikeen, they saw this, the idol worshippers saw this, so they said that they saw that he used to love to do this. So they said, "Oh Muhammad," they said, "we won't let you kiss Hajar Aswad, the black stone." They stopped. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wanted it. It was whiter than milk. But it has become black because of the sins of the Muslims. What Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wanted, in every travel that he wanted to kiss the black stone. But the mushrikeen, they said, okay, if you want to, then fulfill our condition. If you fulfill our condition, then we'll allow you. What's the condition? The condition is that whenever you do tawaf, that our idols, that when you pass by them, you bow to them also. You think, listen, this is something to understand. In this time, that all the people about the falsehood, and all the governments and all they're actually telling the Muslims this. They will give you such and such luxury, such and such ease. You'll get everything. We'll give you this and we'll give you this. But Muslim, he only has to do one thing. A Muslim will say, this is not called, this is not wajib, it's just sunnah. It's just sunnah. If I leave this, because the order of hukm of sunnah is such that in the people who don't do it, there's not a sin. If you do it, it's ajr, good deed. But if you leave it, if I leave it and I get such and such ease, then what does it matter? This is the excuse that a Muslim makes. He's saying that, MAULANA Saad is saying that ittiba'i sunnah, following sunnah is also ibadah. And it's such a portion of deen that without which a Muslim cannot even seem like a Muslim. No one will even know he's a Muslim. You cannot recognize him as a Muslim. With only fulfilling the fara'id, a Muslim cannot look like a Muslim. You'll never know he's a Muslim. Until and unless there's ittiba'i sunnah. So a Muslim, he thinks that he thinks that such and such government is against such and such sunnah, so let's leave this sunnah. It's not fault. I should obey my government, or I should obey my country. Means they don't accommodate this sunnah, or they're not happy with it, so I should just leave this sunnah, then they'll also be happy with me. Like this. Allah says that, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the disbelievers, they want that they want that you should be a little flexible in your deen. Then they'll also be happy and they'll be happy with you. Then they'll be happy that the Muslims, upon our request, he's become a little flexible and he's started leaving his deen. Then he said, Allah said that, oh Muhammad, if you leave talking about the greatness of Allah and against her idols, then they'll all be happy. Because the whole fight is on Tawheed. They want that while you're passing, that you also bow in front of their idols. This is the request of the mushrikeen. That they're telling him, bow in front of the idols as you pass. Then we'll let you kiss the black stone, Hajar Aswad. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he had a light thought in his heart. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, forget doing. He said that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he just had a light thought in the heart, that what if we just make a signal, if I just make a signal from my head, and without any intention in my heart, and I just pass, then what harm is it? If I just make a signal with my head without any intention, and they allow me to kiss Hajar Aswad, what does it matter? He's saying that today, all the people who are guiding the Muslims, they think like this. Today the people who are guiding the Muslims, they think that we should also listen to their one thing, so they also listen one thing of ours. He's saying, listen very carefully. The non-Muslims, they said that there's one river, that this part of the river is yours and this part is ours. It means you stay on this side, we stay on this side, and you do your deen and we do ours. There'll be no fight. So, means make this kind of treaty and let's leave fighting. So they put this condition that you take this part of the river and we take this and let's stop fighting. We divide the land, and this is yours and this is ours, and we stop fighting. Means they want that somehow in some way that we shouldn't be conquered. So one Sahabi came forward and said to the people, he said that So this Sahabi, one Sahabi, he said that they're saying that this part is ours, this part is yours. He said that no, both of these sides are ours, and we'll eat the fruits of our side with the honey from your side, from that side. Don't think that this is yours and this is ours, but rather this land is Allah's. Inna al-arda lillah. That this part is yours, this is ours. It's not like this. He's saying, but rather the fruit from this side, we're going to eat with the honey of that side. These are Sahaba, they said to the non-Muslims. One Sahabi, he said this. Just listening to this, the non-Muslims, they just ran away. They left all their things there and they just left. The Sahaba, they were amazed, what happened? Then why are they running away? One old person who wasn't able to run away, so one Sahabi asked him, then what happened? Why? You guys are putting this condition that this side of the river is yours, this is ours. What happened? So this old man, he said, that from your side, one person, he came and he said such a statement that everybody got kind of had rub of his statement. That his statement left such an awe in the people that everyone ran. It was so overwhelming. What did he say? That one of your people, he came and he said this, and this is what he said. That he was such and such a person and he said such and such thing. And the Sahaba, they came to the Sahabi. Then what did you say to them? He said that, I swear by Allah, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. They asked him, they said, didn't you tell them that we're going to eat the fruit of this side with the honey of that side? He said, no, I didn't say. So MAULANA Saad is saying that when a Muslim, when he is steadfast on his deen, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the angels conveys something to the other side, because of which is so overwhelming for them that they forget what they wanted, and they're unable to face the Muslims. So when a Muslim is steadfast on his deen, then through his tongue Allah makes the angels they speak, and it has such an overwhelming awe that everybody, they left the battlefield and they just ran away. Whoever used to listen to this, they used to leave the fort. They had a fort on the other side. So he's saying that the people of Batil, the falsehood, they make requests from the Muslim, demands. Means for weakness of their deen. That if Muslims, if they leave this, then we'll make this easy for them. that somehow, in some way, the Muslim, he should leave and sell his deen. That the people of falsehood, they're always ready to buy the deen of the non-Muslim, of the Muslims. That would take his deen away from him and give him dunya. Sahaba radiallahu anhum, their mizaj was such that they had left dunya for deen. From Sahabi Abu Yahya, he left from Makkah Mukarramah for Hijrah. And the people, they came after him and they said that, and he told them that, look, you have three choices. You can come after me, and I'm very good with the bow and arrow, and I'll fight you until all my arrows are finished. But if you don't want this, then I have such and such house and in Medina and or in Mecca, and I have such and such slaves, such and such gold, and such things. You can take this. These are your two choices. Fight me or take my things and let me go. Either you take my wealth or fight me with arrows. And just keep in mind that I'm very good with an arrow, you won't be safe. So they said to him that no problem, we'll take your wealth and we'll let you go. So he said it's a good deal. So he made this deal with them. So this is your wealth now and just let me go. So he didn't even reach Medina Munawwara and complete his hijrah yet, but except that an ayat was revealed about him. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. That there are such people amongst mankind who are ready to, that all of the things that they own, they're ready to sell all of that to buy deen, to place of deen. Means take everything of mine, but don't take my deen. Dami duna dini. They used to say clearly that my blood is ready, but not my deen. My blood is ready, but not my deen. My blood is ready, I'm ready to give my blood, but I won't leave my deen. Allah wants to see that when the conditions come upon a Muslim, what decision does he make that time? Does he leave the order of Allah for the condition, or does he not care about the condition and stay steadfast on the order? If this is the case, then Allah gives him victory. But if he leaves the order of Allah for the condition, then Allah just discards him and makes him subservient. So he's saying that the non-Muslims, they have demands and requests. So they told him, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that you cannot kiss Hajar-e-Aswad until you go to the idol. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he had this light thought that if I just sit down with my head, what does it matter? So bas. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately revealed the ayat of the Quran. وَلَوْلَا أَن تَبَدْنَاكَ لَقَدْ كِدْتَ تَرْكَنُ إِلَيْهِمْ شَيْئًا قَلِيلًا. That, oh my Nabi, if we hadn't made you steadfast, then just a tiny bit, you would have, acceded to their demand, a little bit. And if this would have happened, we would have given you a severe punishment in this world and in the Akhirah. This is what Allah said to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Such a severe thing that Allah told him. That if you had even, kind of acceded to their request, even a little bit, I would have punished you severely in this world and the Akhirah. And if you listen to even some of their requests against your deen, then they'll make you their friend. that we said to you this, and you listen to them, then they would consider you their friend. They would make you their friend. He's saying that the non-Muslims, when they make demands to the Muslims, they see the greed of the Muslims and they purchase their deen from them like that. So then the Muslims, they say that, well, it's okay, it's temporary, let's do this for a little bit, then we'll come back to our deen. But he said, no. If a person who sells his deen one time, even, then Allah makes this person mahroom and deprives him from fulfilling that order of them. That you sold your deen for dunya, now you won't get deen again. So he's saying, I'm saying that the whole thing, the whole topic I'm saying on this, that without iman, the promises of Allah won't be fulfilled. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he made promises from the Sahaba when in the time of Khandaq. You know, when they had stones across on their stomachs, Sahaba, they're in cold and hunger and poverty, horrible conditions. And now the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is making such promises that Qais and Qisra is conquered, and their things are yours, and their women are your slaves. The Sahaba, they said, مَا وَعَدَنَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَصَدَقَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. That whatever the promises of Allah and His Rasul are, they're all true and they're going to come true. Allah and His Rasul said the truth. وَمَا زَادَهُمْ إِلَّا إِيمَانًا وَتَسْلِيمًا. That they only increased in iman and submitting to Allah. Their iman and ita'at only increases with promises of Allah. The hypocrites, when they heard these promises, they said, مَا وَعَدَنَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا, that all of these promises are deception, nothing is going to happen. Because if Allah had to give them Qais and Qisra and its castles and things, then Allah would have rather given them some food right now. He's saying that all the conditions upon the Muslims today, he's saying, may Allah forgive me, most of the people, they think that, na'udhu billah, if there was success in deen, then Muslims, they wouldn't have such conditions as we have today. He's saying Allah brings conditions on those people who obey to test them. And the people who are sinful, He brings conditions on them to turn them back towards deen. Before the big punishment, Allah gives them small punishment in their work, in their means, in their daily things, in their farming, in their leadership. Allah brings conditions on them so that they turn back to Allah. So he's saying, I've said one thing, that without iman, the promises of Allah will not be fulfilled. The people who listen to the promise of Allah with doubt, Allah doesn't fulfill His promises with doubt. He's saying, what is their doubt? That listen. That when they hear the promise, they think of the asbab. They think of the means. That these means are present, so how will it be fulfilled? They listen to the promises of Allah, looking at the means. They say that yes, the promises are there, but there's no means, so how can it be fulfilled? So from there, the doubt is created in their hearts. Hazrat Yusuf used to say that means are the only things that between us and Allah that create doubt. Asbab. Through asbab, doubt is created. The thing that makes us most badguman and hopeless from Allah and doubtful about Allah are the means. The amount that means and asbab, they make a person hopeless or doubtful about the promise of Allah being fulfilled, there's no other replacement for it. It's the number one thing that means for doubt. So a person, if he has the means and he has hope from Allah, but if there's no means, then he has no hope from Allah on His promises. Hazrat used to say that the hope from the promises of Allah starts when the means finish. The hope from the hope on the promises of Allah start when the means finish. And our condition is such that when our means finish, that's also when our hopes and expectations from Allah finish. This is the condition of our hearts. If a doctor, he says that you're a sick person, he's okay, then we keep our hopes and expectations until then. Even our dua, even we make dua to that extent to which we see the conditions. But when the doctor he lifts his hand from the patient, then nothing can happen now. We also stop making dua. Make dua and maghfirah. Now there's no hope. Although the case is that he's saying that a person who's hopeful on asbab, his dua is not accepted. But rather a person who's hopeless from means, his dua is accepted. Because this is when nusrat comes down. Because when a person is completely hopeless from everything, then is when his dua is accepted. So I'm saying that without iman, the promises of Allah are not fulfilled. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to make promises on to his Sahaba. One time Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was with his Sahaba, and he was giving bayan and giving a speech that you will conquer Hira, and when you enter into it victorious, then you will see the princess of that, she'll be on a white donkey, and he described her, she'll have lots of wealth, and she'll be yours. So one new Sahabi, he just did Hijr that time. He was just sitting in the back of the gathering. From the back he said that oh Nabi of Allah, you give this girl to me, because when they conquer, she'll be a slave girl. So they said that he didn't say, oh, will we get her, will we win, will we not? No, he said, give me this slave girl. Give her to me. That if you said this, then definitely this is going to happen. They had complete yaqeen. So Nabi Sallallahu said, yes, she's yours. Take her. The senior Sahaba, they were sitting in the front. They didn't ask of her, but this new Sahabi in the back, he asked of her for her. The Sahaba, they said in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, this place Hira was conquered, and this Sahabi, he said that I had complete yaqeen that this girl is mine and she's waiting for me there. She's waiting for me. So I was with this Jamaat, and I went and I'm just looking for her. And then I saw her. She was just like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam described her, on the white donkey, and then I went and I took her. So then they said that, how are you taking her when the Maal of Ghanima, the wealth of the booty is not being distributed yet? And how have you taken her before it's been distributed? And she's the princess. So he said that this has already been distributed by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he gave it to me in his time, and it's the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, third Khilafah. He said, this is already mine. What are you talking about? That Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told me that she's for you. That I had already taken her. Just now I'm taking her, otherwise it's already been distributed. So they said, do you have any witness? Then two Ansari Sahaba, they stood up, yes, we were there when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. So my dear respected friends, I'm saying that promises are fulfilled of Allah when a person has yaqeen on those promises. The promises of Allah are fulfilled for those people who have yaqeen. however much we're convicted in the promises of Allah, that's how much we'll find them true. And however much we doubt in them, that's how much we'll find that they're not being fulfilled. Because to fulfill to correct our expectation with Allah, this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest power if you fix our expectation from Allah. Allah Himself says that I do with my slave according to his expectation from me. The third thing is that without Iman, there will be no ikhlas in amal. The first was istiqamah, the second was the orders of the promises of Allah won't be fulfilled, and third is ikhlas. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked, well, what is Iman? He said Iman is ikhlas. So he said Iman is ikhlas. Why? Because without Iman there's no ikhlas in amal. And this is the third thing, that whichever amal doesn't have ikhlas, it doesn't matter however big it is, if it even has a little bit of show off, then this is shirk. It comes in hadith that even the smallest amount of show off is shirk. When Sahabi came and asked Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that, "Oh Rasulullah, what do you say about a person who does a good deed? But he also likes this, that a person should see his amal, should see his good deed. It makes him happy that somebody sees his good deed." Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam stayed silent. And ayat of Quran started to descend. Allah said, "Man kana yarju liqa'a rabbih falya'mal 'amalan salihan wa la yushrik bi'ibadati rabbih ahada." This ayat was revealed on his question, on the Sahabi's question. And the person who, through his amal, who wants to meet Allah, then he should make his deed, his amal, only for Allah. The person who wants to meet Allah, he should make his amal only for Allah. That in his ibadah, he should not make shirk with Allah in his ibadah. He should make his deed only for Allah, not to put anyone else in his amal with Allah. So he's saying, I'm saying that without Iman, there's no ikhlas in amal. Saying that in proportion to the iman, a person will have ikhlas and sincerity in his amal. The fourth thing is that without iman, a person will not have ihtisab, which means the expectation of reward, the expectation of reward from Allah. And when expectation of reward will leave the amal, then the amal will become a habit. When there's no expectation of reward, then amal will become a burden. And on the hypocrites, why was amal a burden? It was so because that they had no expectation and hope of reward from Allah. Salah was heavy on them, and they used to come lazily to salah. Why? It was because of this same reason. Because that Allah said, وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى يُرَاءُ النَّاسَ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. That they used to pray just to show people, show off to people that we're Muslims, so people know. It was for the same reason it was a burden, because they didn't have expectation of reward. He's saying, listen very carefully. To do any amal, for this reason, that to show that I'm on this side. That's why we do this amal, that this was the mizaj of munafiqeen. That a person he shows off when he wants to show people that I'm among such people. I'm in this party, or I'm with these people. I'm of this mindset. They do this, their amal, to show that I'm among these people. Although when a person he does a deed for Allah, that he's with haqq. He's with the truth. And a person who does an amal to show that I'm with such and such people or such and such party or such and such group, then his amal is for this reason, to show people that I'm from such and such group. Then no, a person who's sincere, he's with haqq, with truth, not with any group or party. A person who has riyah, he'll do an amal just to show that I'm with these people. The hypocrites, they used to do amal to show the Muslims that we're with you. That we're from your group, we're from you. And they also used to come and say, that they used to say that to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that we bear witness that you're Allah's Rasul. And Allah revealed that Allah said that I bear witness that you're my Rasul, I know this, you don't need anybody's witness. Allah knows that you're His messenger. And Allah said that the same way they said that we bear witness that you're the messenger of Allah, Allah said, I bear witness that you all are liars, to the hypocrites. They're all liars. They're giving witness that He's the messenger of Allah, and Allah is saying that I know you're my messenger, but I bear witness these people are all liars. Then what is the lie? The lie is that they say that you're the messenger of Allah, but they obey other than you. They don't obey you. So I'm saying that without iman, there's no ajr on. Alhamdulillah. Without iman, there's no ajr and compensation for amal. A person, he will not get ajr for his amal, because his amal becomes a habit. He said, what's the difference between a amal and ada? A good deed and a habit. He's saying that if in our a'mal, if we have ihtisab, an expectation of reward from Allah, then this is ibadah. Otherwise, it's an adah, a habit. A habit develops ghaflat inside a person. That ibadah, it increases a person in dhikr, in remembering Allah. However good the ibadah will be, that's how much a person will be closer to Allah and remember Allah. But if it's a habit, it will be with ghafla and negligence. He's saying that's why the biggest dhikr is salah. وَلَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ Quran. You see, namaz is the biggest, salah is the biggest dhikr. And this is so sure, because in the Quran Allah has mentioned salah as iman. You should listen carefully. Allah has said salah as iman in the Quran. Why? Because between kufr and Islam, there's the difference of salah. Between kufr and iman, there's the difference of salah. That's why Allah has called salah iman. That salah is such a manifestation of obedience of the believer that without this a person cannot be a believer. Such a proof of his obedience. Without salah, there's no iman. That's why it was said that salah is iman. When the order came that you change your qibla from Bayt al-Maqdis to the Kaaba, then all the Sahaba, they changed their qibla towards the Kaaba in salah. So then the non-Muslims, they insulted them and they said, they were saying that, so what about the last Qibla? Was that wrong? Because when a new order used to come, then because of leaving the last order, people would say that all their last amal were worthless. Means that now you got a new Qibla, was the old one wrong? So all of your last amal were valueless. So Allah revealed, Allah is not going to Allah is not going to waste your previous iman or your previous amal. Because those people who come from one order to another, Allah doesn't waste their deeds. Because they're both orders. So Allah said that we changed their qibla to see, to test their obedience. We wanted to take a test of their obedience in salah. So Allah didn't say that finish your Dhuhr salat completely towards Bayt al-Maqdis and Asr pray towards Kaaba. And finish this salah, that when it's been going on for so long towards Bayt al-Maqdis, so what will it matter if you just finish 2 more rakat of Dhuhr and then pray Asr towards Kaaba? Because this order came in the middle of salah. That person in this order who didn't do it, and even the person who delayed, he disobeyed. Both of them. In obedience, even delaying, after an order comes, if we even delay a little bit, if they had even kept praying towards Bayt al-Maqdis a little bit, then all of them would have been considered disobedient. That's why we are actually commanded when an order comes to obey immediately, so immediately that the order came in the middle of salah and they were expected to obey immediately. فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. That the four rakat of Dhuhr was being made. It didn't happen such that the order just came and nobody knows yet. Let's collect everybody first, tell everybody first, then we'll see. Then we'll make mashwara. Then from which salah should we start? No, it's the order of Allah. Immediately, in the middle of salah, they changed their qibla. They changed the direction completely. Although salah is such an amal that there's no stop in the middle. There's no pause. That all the actions in salah are one after the other. You don't get a break. There's no moment in salah which is without any amal. So in the middle of this salah, the order came to change your qibla. So Allah wanted to test, to see who immediately would Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam change the qibla, and who will delay. Who will say that no, we'll stay on the first qibla? So the order came and Sahaba immediately changed their qibla. Then Allah said, مَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. Here, iman, Allah mentioned salah. Although it means salah, but Allah mentioned iman. That Allah is not going to waste your iman, your salah. Allah is not going to waste your previous salah. But Allah mentioned the word iman. So if somebody asked them that, what were you doing wrong until now that Allah changed your qibla? That no, because whatever was before that was also with the order of Allah, and now this is also with the order of Allah. The people, they say that, oh, before it was like this, now you have to, now why is it changed? So that no, before the order was like this, we had to do like that. Now the order is like this, we have to do like this. That sometimes you're on a common way, you're doing it on a trend, and a order comes and you have to obey immediately. And at that time, if a person, if he starts to think and uses logic, then Allah will take the victory from the people and give it to the others. He will take the victory from the Muslims. Like in Uhud, the people that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had stationed on that hill, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told them, you must stay there even if the birds are eating your flesh. It doesn't matter if everybody's dead, you have to stay there. And even if everybody's dead and birds are eating our bodies, you have to stay there. Don't come down from this hill. It's an extreme order that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave. That even if birds are eating our dead bodies, don't come down from this hill. He said that don't even come down to shoo those birds away. People will be, if people are getting taking the booty of war, don't come down. If all the mushrikeen they run away, don't come down. Even if we win or lose, don't come down from this hill. If we are losing and we need your help, still don't come down. فليحذر الذين يخالفون عن أمره أن تصيبهم فتنة أو يصيبهم عذاب أليم. This is what Allah said in the Quran. That those people who disobey the Messenger of Allah, they should be very scared that either one of two things will happen. They'll fall in great fitna and trial and tribulation, or Allah will give them an extreme punishment. That whatever is told to you, you must do it. Not that you see the right time or no. Sahaba didn't used to look at the time. They used to look at the order. Here, 40 Sahaba, they looked at the condition and they forgot the order. And they disobeyed. And no, this is not the time to obey now. No, every order is, that order remains until another order doesn't come. Hazrat Yusuf Ramza used to say that whatever is told to you to do, do it. Otherwise the Jews and Christians will be made to put on top of you. Otherwise the Jews and Christians will be on top of your throats. So I'm saying that Salah is Iman. The person who doesn't have Salah, he has no place in Islam. This was the last words of Umar radiallahu anhu. When Umar radiallahu anhu was stabbed, and his blood was coming out, and his gash was so deep that when he was made to drink milk, the milk came out from his wound. Then it became known that Umar radiallahu anhu won't survive. So then he was unconscious, and they were trying to make him gain consciousness. So they were trying to bring him into consciousness, but they were unable to do so. Somebody said that to bring him into consciousness, there's only one way. That make him remember Salah. That say in his ear that it's time for Salah. So as soon as somebody said it's time for Salah, he immediately gained consciousness. So then he said, Salah. Salah is that order of Allah, without that order of Islam, without which there is no place in Islam for a person. So my dear respected friends, the whole foundation of Deen is on Salah. Namaz is such an order in Salah that without which Deen cannot be established. Allah mentioned this as a pillar of Deen. من أقامها فقد أقام الدين. The one who establishes Salah, he establishes Deen. The one who prays Salah in a proper way, he has established Deen. That's why look for the reasons for your sins in Salah. People, they either blame Shaitan or the environment. You're saying, although the environment is nothing. He's saying that the amal of the Muslim is mahul, is environment. There's good amal, that's good mahul, bad amal, that's bad environment. He's saying that a Muslim is not Muslim by mahul, but mahul is mahul by the amal of the Muslim. He's saying otherwise a mahul, an environment of shamelessness, the animals, they don't make it. It's like, it doesn't just magically appear. He's saying an environment of shamelessness is because of the amal of insan. And that's why I'm saying that develop perfection and completion in your salah, your deen will also have the same. Whoever has deficiency in the salah, his deen will always remain deficient. Whoever salah is deficient, his deen is deficient. And that's why I'm saying that salah, look for the reasons of your sins in salah. Any sin, big or small. Immediately think that some order of your in your salah is missing. It's a sure thing, he said. Ibn Abbas and Abdullah bin Masud both say that the person whose salah doesn't stop him from munkar and evil, that his salah takes him further away from Allah. The person whose salah doesn't stop him from munkar, his salah takes him further from Allah. Why? Because there's no bigger means to get closer to Allah than salah. Because salah is the mi'raj of a mu'min, ascension of a mu'min, and there's nothing, no bigger way to get closer to Allah than through mi'raj. That if even in mi'raj Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turns away from him, then how can this person get closer to Allah? So he's saying that what chance will that person have to get close to Allah when even in his mi'raj Allah turns away from him, or he turns away from him? It's in hadith, the person, Allah doesn't even look towards that person who between his ruku and sajda, he doesn't stand straight. The person who doesn't make his back straight, keep his back straight. Allah doesn't even look at that person. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he heard a sahabi get, after he got up from ruku, he said, رَبَّنَا لَكَ الْحَمْدُ حَمْدًا كَثِيرًا طَيِّبًا مُبَارَكًا فِيهِ. He heard one sahabi saying that. So he said, who said these kalimat? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They say that today, even the people who are so-called people of salah, they don't even say these kalimat. رَبَّنَا لَكَ الْحَمْدُ حَمْدًا كَثِيرًا طَيِّبًا مُبَارَكًا فِيهِ. Even ai they don't say this. People who lead salah. You see that imams, their condition is such that they pray salah, it is so fast so that their muqtadis are happy, whereas Allah is saying they want to keep their muqtadis happy. You see that the people, the imam who prays quickly, that his muqtadis are very happy. Their imam is leading very quickly. They want however quick the imam leads salah, that's how good of an imam he is. He's saying salah is going away from sunnah. The person whose salah goes away from sunnah, his deen, his life will go away from deen. Hazrat used to say that first namaz will be, the deficiency will come in salah, then will come in deen. Means the deen, the deficiency will start through salah. First deficiency will come in deen, in salah, then in deen. Why? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to Sahaba that who said these kalimat? So one Sahabi said, I said that to them. The 30 angels, they ran towards you to record the good deeds of these these kalimat. This is what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. Why did 30 run? Because it was such a great reward that one couldn't write all of it. So, or the other meaning is that 30 ran because everybody wanted that I should be the one to write it. That's how much ajr there is in these kalimat. That angels, they rushed and they just wanted to, and then they all came back to Allah. Then they all came to Allah, they said that, oh Allah, your slave has said such words that we cannot write its reward. So Allah said that don't write its reward, just write the kalimat. That's it. I'll reward them. He's saying it's not difficult. Anybody can get up and say, but nobody, we don't have the habit of doing this. He's saying although, after getting up from ruku' and before going into sajda, this much pause, he's saying that even there can be so much pause in which we can recite Surah Fatiha. He's saying that we don't have any such habit. He's saying this is the bare minimum, he said. He said otherwise there are even longer things than this that are thabit from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Means authenticated. After getting up from ruku, there's even things that, and he's saying those right now. Long, it's very long. It's even longer than Surah Fatiha. I don't know what he said. He said those kalimat that even this is sabit from hadith after getting up from ruku. It's even longer than Surah Fatiha. He said that neither we read it nor we know it. He said that I'm saying that imams they lead quickly, so their muqtadis are quick. So their muqtadis are happy. He said that until Hazrat used to say, until a person doesn't take his livelihood from salah, these amal are like thorns. He's saying that think of amal like your sustenance, and run towards them like you run towards your sustenance, and come with desire. He's saying a long salah, people say that you should pray short because we're a businessman and we're busy and we have shops. So that's why the salah should be in accordance to the people that you're leading. Such things are only said when people don't want, when Allah is not their aim of life. When Allah is not the objective of their lives, then such statements are stated. And even salah is prayed for dunya. Mu'adh bin Jabal radiallahu anhu, he's called the leader of the ulama. He prayed Surah Baqarah, he said the whole Surah Baqarah in Isha Salah. The whole Surah Baqarah. In Tarawih, he said? No, it's Isha Salah. 2.5 juz. One and a quarter juz in one rak'ah, and 1.25 in the second. 2.5 juz. Who read it? In which salah? Isha Salah. Sahaba, they prayed and then they said that Mu'adh, he read Surah Baqarah complete in Isha Salah. They said this was not a complete. It was not, they didn't even object. They said, they weren't such, the Sahaba weren't such that if salah is long, they'll complain. They weren't like that. But Sahaba, they only said to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam commonly used to read what Tini was doing in small surahs. Because of this, they told Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that there's a difference between your salah and the salah of Mu'adh. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, bring Mu'adh, and he told him, "O Mu'adh, that do you want to put people in difficulty? That today if somebody recites Surah Baqarah, will say, yes, make salah light. Hazrat Hudayfa used to recognize the munafiqeen, the hypocrites. And he used to say that the meaning of making salah light is to make the qira'ah less. But it doesn't mean to make the sajda and the ruku' less. Don't make those less. Because ruku' and sajda, to make this less, it will mess up the salah. The qiyam can be mukhtasar through qira'ah. But make your ruku' and sajda complete. That's why I'm saying to bring salah on complete ilm and knowledge. One of Ilyas used to say that the actual objective of my work is to bring perfection in iman and ibadah, iman and worship. That this is the purpose of my work, to bring kamal and perfection in iman and ibadah. Any deficiency in salah will cause complete deficiency in deen. That's why our deen salah must come on ilm. So that any amal, put it on ilm. If it's in accordance to ilm, then it's accepted, else it's rejected. He's saying that there's two conditions for an amal to be accepted. One is iman and one is ilm. These are the two conditions for acceptance of an amal. Iman is ikhlas and ilm is the method. Iman is ikhlas, ilm is the method. And he's saying that's it. Iman and ilm are the two actual things. People are ignorant of these two things. Iman and ilm. You say that if your amal has ilm and iman, then it's accepted. And if it doesn't have, even if one is there and one is not there, if it's in complete accordance to the methods of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if there's no ikhlas, it's rejected. Even Allah doesn't have room for a little bit of show-off. This is shirk. That's why we say that every amal on complete knowledge. Why? Because without ilm, there's no amal. Ilm is the method of the amal. So, it's the yardstick to measure an amal, to see is this an amal or is it not. That's why, my dear respected friends, the whole purpose of this going in the path of Allah is for this, so that through da'wah, that this environment should change. And that we're doing amal, but we don't have ihtisab, we don't have expectation of good, of reward from Allah. He's saying keep the expectation of reward from Allah for two things, da'wah and ibadah. Keep their fadail in front of you, keep their rewards and virtues in front of you. He's saying the fadail of da'wah, that day of Jumu'ah, Sayyid al-Ulama Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu, he remained in Masjid Nabawi to pray Salat al-Jum'ah. He delayed going in the path of Allah and waited till Jum'ah. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, he said that, didn't you go in the path of Allah? He said, I'm going to pray Jum'ah and then go in the path of Allah. Then Umar radiallahu anhu said, oh Mu'adh, have you forgotten that Abdullah bin Rawaha radiallahu anhu had also remained for Jum'ah, and what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him? That he told him that, oh Abdullah bin Rawaha, that if you spend all the money in the world in the path of Allah, you cannot attain the virtue of the Jamaat that left in the morning. And didn't wait for Jum'ah. And also keep in front of you the virtues of ibadat. He said, otherwise they'll become habit. He's saying, what's the difference between ada and ibadah, habit and good deed? He's saying, if there's ihtisab, it's ibadah. If there's expectation of of reward, then it's ibadah. Hazrat used to say that person has no amal who has no niyyah, and that person, it's a hadith, la amal liman la niyyata wa la ajr liman la hisbata la, and that person has no reward who has no expectation of reward. No amal for that person who has no niyyah. And he's saying about ghusl, that people, they just say we become habitual of ghusl. They don't realize this is an amal. And then on Jum'ah, that when a person is ghusl on Jum'ah, the sins are taken out from the hair even. Then it comes in hadith that the bathing on Jum'ah, it takes the sins out from the roots of the hair. And a person, he becomes so clean with the ghusl of Jum'ah that he becomes pure from sins. From one Jum'ah to the next Jum'ah, his sins become forgiven. From the last Jum'ah to this Jum'ah. That's why I said that the actual purpose of da'wah is this. That da'wah should bring the fadail in front of a person. And striving in the path of Allah is the real thing. To make deen reach to other people. Because insan is the only machine for amal. Insan is the only machine of amal. There's no other way to make the deen reach the people other than that a Muslim, through his amal, he comes in motion and goes in the path of Allah with his amal. All of the other ways, they can only present information, they can never present amal. They can never present deen in its true way with amal. He's saying that amal only a Muslim can present amal. He's saying one is the deen of information and one is the deen of amal. The deen of information is in books, and the deen of amal is in the life of a Muslim. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, he went to Iraq, and they asked him, how should we do wudu? They asked him. So he said, get me some water, and I'll show you. So you see, that's why we tell you, get ilm from the suhbat of ulama, and you will get amali ilm. You'll get practical knowledge. And without their companionship, you'll get information, yes, if you look from books or whatever, but you'll never get true amali ilm. Because to present amal in this is mujahada. To send a message, there's no mujahada in this. But to show this amal is mujahada. To go on this amal and show it to the people, this is mujahada. But to spread a message, to share a message, it's not mujahada. To make a message, read somebody is not mujahada. But to take this and bring it into amal and go in the path of Allah with it, this is mujahada. Hazrat used to say that